Hey, everybody, and welcome back to Divulgence. I'm very excited. Today we have Flat Earth Dave in the house. Dave, how are you, my friend? Happy New Year.
I'm doing great. Happy New Year to you, even though it's a fake New Year. New Year's is April 1st. That's why they call it April Fool's Day, but that's a whole nother rabbit hole.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, thanks again for being here. Let's just jump right into it because we have an hour. So, generally, what is it you believe when it comes to flat Earth? Do you believe the Earth is stationary?
Yeah. So first, I got a couple of quick questions for you, if you don't mind. Your logo there of the Earth with water dripping off the edge, is that your normal logo?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's got
a pentagram on it too.
It's not. Yeah. It's just a whole bunch of things thrown in together. So it's not necessarily things I believe in, but just topics and stuff.
Yeah, I got it.
Symbols.
So it's not about belief. Belief is the enemy of knowing, as Crow 777 Radio says, because belief is easy. I could tell you that I'm in Ohio right now, and you can just believe me, or you can do some research and find out that I'm not in Ohio. It's easier to believe than to know, and we know that the Earth is not a ball. We know that it's not rotating. We know that it's not a sphere. We know that the globe is a lie, and there's lots of things that we don't know. So, the Earth is, let me ask you a question. If something doesn't curve, then it's what?
If it doesn't curve, then I would say it's generally flat.
And if something doesn't move, then it's what?
Still or stationary.
Yeah, flat and stationary. Well, there's no measurable motion ever anywhere on the Earth, and there's no measurable curvature. People, well, what about boats over the horizon and stuff? Well, we can show you that that's just the angular resolution limits of your eyes, along with things that block tiny things in the distance. Like you can be standing next to a 50-story building and it's gigantic, but put it 30, 40 miles away and it literally crunches, it merges into that horizon line and you can't see it. It just literally gets too small. And then the atmosphere becomes opaque, blocking things from the bottom up. So that's a whole thing that we can get into. But you ask me what I believe. I know the Earth is not a globe. That's what I believe.
So, what is the flat Earth model? Is that something that you?
Well, the simple. I mean, it's like, here's the thing: we can prove that there's no curvature. We can prove that there's no motion. We can prove that the sun and the moon are lights in the sky, that they're local. We can prove lots of things. So, falsification is independent of replacement. Like if I said somebody stole the last cookie out of my cookie jar, I think it was you. You can prove to me that you're thousands of miles from where I am and that you didn't take it, and I can never say, well, until you show me who did, then you're guilty. So we kind of do have a model. This is it right here. This is my app, the Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app. Wherever the sun is, it's noon. So if I stop the clock right here, it's early morning for Sydney, Australia. The sun's just about to come up. The moon is high over their head right now, about close to a half moon. And it's midnight over here. All right, opposed to the sun is always midnight. And the sun travels in between these two tropics, in between the Tropic of Capricorn on December 21st and the Tropic of Cancer on June 21st. And wherever the sun is closest is where it's warm. So 6 months in, 6 months out, as it spirals around, anything in between these two lines is the tropics. It's very warm and the sun's never far from them. But when the sun's all the way out here like it is now, it's freezing. What state are you in?
Actually, I'm in Canada. I'm in Ontario.
You're Canada. So it's frigging cold, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because the sun is so far away from you. It's so far away. Check this out. I'm going to show you. This is an observation I did last year. Whoops. Where is it? Oh, that's right. Seasons. There it is. All right. So last February, I was right here in Mexico at the tip of the Yucatan Peninsula. It was 90 degrees Fahrenheit. Here in Connecticut at home, it was -10 Fahrenheit. Now, this is on a globe. So the sun was literally 0.00003% farther from Connecticut than it was from Mexico, and there was a 100-degree difference. That's kind of weird. Like, how is that even possible? Well, if you look at the flat Earth model, come on, baby, there you go. The sun was here. It was 2:30 in the afternoon. I'm right here at the end of the yellow line, and Connecticut is twice as far away.
Wow.
Does that make sense? That makes sense,
right?
Yeah.
Interesting.
There's the people you're going to hear the anti-flat earthers. Now there's paid agents out there. There's possessed agents. Same thing. Paid or possessed. Same thing. There's people that are just egos. They're ignorant and that will say there's no proof of flat earth. There's only proof of globe earth. I offer 3 Bitcoins for 1 globe proof and nobody's claimed them. There's no proof of the globe. 0. There's nothing independent. Circumnavigation, sunsets over the ocean, all of that stuff is clearly explained. We'll talk about some of it here, but if you go to the frequently asked questions section of the app, where does the sun go? Or why can we see too far? Or the Coriolis effect or gravity. Right, that's a big one. All of these are videos that Google is hiding from you. And once you see, you can't unsee it. Once you go flat, you never globe back.
So what can you explain the a bit more of the characteristics of the Earth? What is underneath? And can you get into like what a firmament is and if that's something that you know is real or not?
Yeah, so the deepest hole ever dug is 7.8 miles, not even 8 miles. So it's called less than 8 miles. Deepest hole ever dug. And so we compared that to an apple, right? The thin skin of the apple. If you drilled a quarter of the way or an eighth of the way through the skin of the apple, that's equivalent, right? And as they did that, they used ground penetrating radar to see what was next. All right, no more rocks, no more water. They hit more rocks, they hit more water. So the ground penetrating radar was a waste of money. And they were wrong every step of the way. And then they hit an impenetrable barrier and they tried for years to get through it and they could not get through it. But then they know what the next 4,000 miles is to the core. They think they know this. This is called a cartoon. This is pseudoscience. They couldn't even tell you what was in the top eighth of an inch of the eighth of the skin, but somehow they know the next 4,000 miles or just under 4,000. You were being taught complete and total pseudoscience in school. It's just made up stuff, And the question you'll ask is, well, why would they lie? Why would they lie? And we can get to that at the end, but let's look at the evidence first before we come up with why to lie. I'm not the one that's lying. They're the one that's lying. So let me just show you a couple ideas of what the Earth might be. Let me just see. I don't want to show you that one yet. So here is, where did it go? Hold on a second. What happened here? All right. So here is the AE map, which is the most common map. This was a map that was in all the schools, in the libraries, everything until the mid-50s, where the Rockefellers removed it because they don't want you knowing that this is the map of the world. So you got Australia, South America, and the sun just circles around like I was showing you before. But what they did is they took this, they cut out the map, and they wrapped it around a sphere and said, you live on a sphere. And you're not allowed to go to this white area. And they say that white area is a continent at the bottom of the globe. But there's no free and independent exploration of this area. Now, they'll take you to a peninsula right here and charge you $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 for a couple of days. They'll show you some penguins. They'll show you some ice, and then they'll kick you out. There's no independent exploration. Nobody goes from Santiago over Antarctica to Australia, which would be the shortest route. But nobody does that. The plane routes are insane what they do. So this is all off limits, and all the countries in the world agree upon that, and that everybody has to be a human pincushion, which is another story. So again, you look at governments. Do you think that governments lie?
Absolutely.
So why would the one branch of government, NASA, not lie?
No reason.
Yeah. So they have you on a ball with it. They have you in a prison of your mind. This is a prison of your mind. If you believe that you live here, then you don't want to ever question that there could be more out there, right? What if the world was set up like this? Let's see. Oh, I filmed this. So this is just a puddle. So this is a puddle in a parking lot. And so we'll say this is a continent. And these are little, smaller continents, right?
Sure.
And if I zoomed out, this is just a flat parking lot. I forgot I filmed this. I've never shown this before. It's dirty ocean,
Nice.
right? So
Exclusive.
this would be in Antarctica. All of this would be Antarctica. Antarctica, on average, is the highest land by double number 2 on Earth. Right. And so if we kept going out, this would be Antarctica. What if we traveled a couple thousand miles to another puddle, another world? Maybe this one's called Mars. There is no outer space. There is the outer space. The outer space.
The outer space. Okay.
Yeah, the outer space, the outer lands.
Which is the outer land.
It is the world like this. Here we live, Australia, South America. You got your orientation, right? What's out here? What's out here? Could this be the extra territory, the extra terra? Now, the thing is, I can't make any positive claims what's beyond the shoreline of Antarctica because no one is allowed to independently explore out there. There's lots of evidence that there's more land, more worlds, more people. There's whistleblowers that have been in the military that say that there's cities of millions of people that live in Antarctica. Is this all considered Antarctica? We don't know, but it sure looks like they're hiding more land, more technology. All of our leaders end up going to Antarctica. They all end up going to Antarctica as soon as they're elected and disappear for a couple of days. Maybe they're getting their marching orders from the real leaders of this world.
Interesting.
Yeah. Right. I mean, that's just a concept. We take this, we cut it out like I showed you before.
Yep.
We take it, we cut it out, we wrap it around a sphere, and now you have no concept that there's anything more. What if they did that with just Australia? They said you can't go 300 miles off the shore. You have to turn around. You wouldn't know about South America, North America, Africa. You would think that the whole world was just Australia. And then if somebody came from the other land, you go there, they're an alien, right? We're incredible, powerful, spiritual beings, and they're literally trying to cap us off by putting us in a limited world of the globe. Yeah.
So can you mentioned there is no outer space. There's only the outer space. So let's get into like space and space travel and these space missions and it seems like it's just
it's all complete and total nonsense, right? This is where we live. We live in this double toroid, and in the center of a double toroid, there's a thing called the plane of inertia. And this is where physicality happens. All the luminaries circle around on these magnetic currents, right? And so the world is kind of spherical, but we live here on this flat section. This is the sky, and this is the underworld, right? We don't know what's under there. There's a lot of stuff going on under the world, but that's a whole nother rabbit hole. I'll show you where to find information. We think that we're at the pinnacle of civilization, but we're literally in the final credits of idiocracy. This world is not what we think it is. It is completely something different.
So as for other planets, if anything, you're saying that they're just between on the other side of that outer space. That could be.
So have you ever seen a picture of a planet that wasn't supplied by NASA or Disney? And Disney's the more credible one at this point.
Probably not. I would.
No, you haven't. And there are luminaries in the sky. Check this out. This is up top of a laundry soap bottle, and the sun's hitting it. What does that look like? It kind of looks like when we see Saturn. Right?
That's whoa! Look at that.
Isn't that fascinating? It's fascinating. Yeah. I'm not saying that Saturn is the reflection of a laundry bottle top, but maybe something like that. That we're seeing these lights. NASA will show us this. What does that look like to you? If I didn't say it was from NASA and there's no type on there, you'd say, well, that's a half sucked up jawbreaker, gumball, whatever. Right? They're telling us that is friggin' Jupiter's moon. How stupid is that? It's so stupid.
It seems so silly.
They show NASA gets $80 million a day, right? And meanwhile, this is from a couple years ago. This is Jupiter now, right? What is that? That looks like somebody mixing paints and water and cutting it out into a circle, right? Then they say, oh no, here's Jupiter. Here's the eye of the storm that's 10 times bigger than the Earth. Nonsense. It never changes.
A painting.
It never, ever, ever changes. I was looking for something. Oh yeah. So if I said, which planet is this? What would you say? Jupiter. It looks like Jupiter,
maybe
right?
Jupiter. Yeah, maybe Jupiter.
Yeah. So when NASA tells you, oh, this planet, you look at it and you think planet. Now, people kind of trust NASA more than somebody you just met on the internet. Well, you just met me on the internet and you believe me that that's a planet. Let's zoom in. It's literally a meadow of ponds with ducks. Right. So I'm showing you how easy it is to fool somebody. It's unbelievable. Right. NASA came out with these images. Right. These are possible planets in a nearby solar system. Right.
Okay. So they're not named or anything.
Well, those are actually the bottoms of frying pans. So that's not from NASA, right? Those are dirty frying pans. Right? I'm just showing you how easy, how stupid easy it is. But when we actually zoom into Mars with our zoom cameras, this is what we see. Does that look like a dirty rock, that there's a rover on? Or it's a little out of focus, but we're seeing this energetic pattern. I personally think space is water, and we're looking at things. Liquid. Yeah, it looks like liquid, right? Here's Venus.
Liquid again.
That's Venus.
It looks like a cell under a microscope or something.
There's lots of stuff. All the planets, they used to be called wandering stars. They're all named after gods. I don't know, man. I don't know. So here is this is the latest picture from Jupiter from the Voyager. I think took this picture, and it happens to have a shape that looks like Pluto the dog. Do you know that Pluto the dog was named the same year that Pluto the planet was discovered? Now you could say, oh, Disney was inspired and wanted to name a dog after this new planet. Cool story. But that would be like me saying, in 1957 or whatever the year it was, I found a new planet and I call it the Tesla Roadster planet. And then 75 years later, they get a close-up shot of the planet and it's got a Tesla Roadster desert on it, shaped desert. What are the odds?
Yeah.
Right. They're literally poking fun at us, right? Because it keeps us in a childhood belief. And so let's talk about why the lie just a little bit, because we can jump to that.
Absolutely.
It's about control. It's about total control of your mind, and it's about hiding God. Now, my whole life, I didn't believe in God. I believed that we were once pond scum and turned into frogs and monkeys and came out of the trees and became humans. That's what I was taught in school. Why wouldn't I believe that? And I believe that, most of the world has been discovered already. There's not a whole lot more out there, and we're running out of resources and global warming and everything. But that's not the truth. This world is unlimited. I don't think extinction is a real thing. I don't think any animals become extinct. I think this world replenishes itself. I think that there's unlimited resources. There's free energy. There's all sorts of stuff. But the number one thing, though, they want control of people. And if people know that there's a creator, it's hard to control them. Flat Earth puts you in a situation. There are no atheist flat earthers. None. Because we live in a enclosed system, and a Big Bang can't create a terrarium type enclosed system. So there has to be a creator, and they don't want us in that situation. So how do you the globe model teaches you to deny creation? When you're born, when you're a little kid, your parents tell you that Santa Claus, a supernatural being that can fly around the world and deliver presents and climb down chimneys, delivers presents, and they use it to control you for the next 5 to 8 years. And they control you. Behave, Santa Claus, the whole thing. Almost every parent does this. And then when they're 8, 9 years old, whatever, they find out that Santa Claus isn't real. What does that mean? Well, their parents lied to them, and supernatural isn't a thing. It sucks. It destroys their psycho. Their psychic. What am I saying? Their
psyche.
Psyche. Yeah, it destroys their psyche, and it makes them distrust their parents. Now they have this huge doubt in there. So now spirituality comes in. So the government indoctrination school for the first 7 years of their life has taught them. What did they teach them in school? They taught them about the sun and the moon and the planets, and that's the number one thing they teach in school, right? They're teaching them absolute pseudoscientific nonsense, and that becomes the foundation of their life. And so they give them space movies. Sesame Street has astronauts on. Every kid wants to be an astronaut. They show them floating in space, the astronauts with their hair all over the place. and they now you try to teach them spiritually that God exists. Well, they don't believe you or in supernatural anymore. So it becomes even harder to introduce them to concepts that are beyond their physical touch. And that is my explanation of why they lie.
What are your thoughts on astronauts, and are they just actors playing the part?
They're all actors. They're all whoops, what's going on here? They're all actors. Some of them believe that they're in space. Some they're hypnotized and they tell the story. There's this one old astronaut that's making the round all the podcasts now, and he can't answer any questions that he wasn't told the answer to. It's crazy. But most of them are just liars. Like, these people are training in the National Buoyancy Lab underwater, and this is just with a green screen. Bam. So we've watched spacewalks where they absolutely do nothing out there, and you can see bubbles float by sometimes because they can't edit them all out. And we've seen scuba divers in the background. We've seen all sorts of stuff. So they're faking space. And these people, some of them might not even be real. It might just be AI actors up there, right? Complete and total nonsense. But it's to capture your imagination, make you think, we need to go to space, and, we need to save the earth. Absolute nonsense. I showed this on a podcast, and the guys were saying, you definitely see curvature. You definitely see curvature. Do you see curvature? Do you see Earth curvature? Kind of, a little bit, right?
I don't think so.
Well, you could imagine, but in reality, we filmed this upside down. Okay, and all we did was turn it over, and that's the sky. That's not the Earth. Look how easy it is to fool people, right? This is the international. This is the space shuttle. This is a massive steel tank that's falling back to Earth. Is that falling? Is that falling, or is it floating like a balloon? Right. This is falling. Watch. He's going to jump, and he's gone. Now this is worse because this is falling back. It's going to burn up before it gets to Earth. That's what they say. It doesn't seem to be burning up. It doesn't seem to be falling. And the guys that are filming this are in the shuttle, heading up at 25,000 miles an hour. So not only is it not falling, they're moving away from it. How are they keeping it in frame? Here's the problem. There is zero critical thinking. The world has come to a point where there is no critical thinking. There's just memorization, and there's just believing complete and total nonsense.
Yeah,
right? The International Space Station, the most technological construction job, they didn't film a single second of it. This is the only thing we have is the animation of it being built. Different countries made different parts. They never tried mixing them together. They had to get adapters and stuff, and they built the whole thing in space, and there's zero evidence of it. Zero.
I wondered about that, about how, everyone's making different parts. And
yeah. So the US and Russia made these two parts, and they had, or whatever country this is, and they had to make an adapter. This is the adapter because they had different doors. So they created an adapter, and they put it together. This is traveling at 17,500 miles an hour, right? And it just snaps together like friggin' Legos. They couldn't build a Lego ship in space, let alone this. Wow. How dumb is that?
Wow, that's ridiculous, Dave.
When the thing is, when you look at all of this stuff, critically, you see that it's complete and total nonsense. It's just absolute nonsense.
we have here we got a comment from the audience here. So a flat, motionless Earth wouldn't have constantly flowing spring creeks and rivers where water is always moving, but rather covered in puddles, ponds, lakes, and swamps with water that is forever still.
That's actually not true. If you look at that, that's a great that you brought that up. If you look at the tabletop mountains, those are really the stumps of giant trees from the past. And have you ever seen a video where they cut open a tree and water comes out of the tree endlessly, like a gushing geyser of water? You've seen that, right?
Yeah.
So if you look at these tabletop mountains, like in Hawaii and everywhere, there's waterfalls where stuff is just pouring over the top, and it's coming. Where's it coming from? It's literally coming up through the root system of the tree. So again, to say that there just be puddles, you don't understand what primary water is. There's oceans of water below us, oceans, right? And since we're talking about water for a second, Muammar Gaddafi, the head of Libya, we were taught that he was just an evil guy, wanted to blow up the world. Back in 1980, whatever year it was, maybe 70s, he was telling how the governments are going to take over the world. They're going to use a bioengineered pokey poke thing that goes into people's arms. Careful what I'm saying here on YouTube. And they're going to use it to depopulate the world, and they're going to do all these wars and everything. When digging for oil, he found an ocean of pristine water called primary water. So he started building the largest aquifer project in all of known history. And he was piping water under the desert in giant pipes to all across Africa. And any family that wanted to start a farm, they would get cattle, seeds, water, tractors, everything they need. And he was going to feed all of Africa. After 40 years of construction, the Clintons and the Obamas got together, the UN, and they completely destroyed it with depleted uranium bombs. Never heard about that in school, did you?
No. Biggest
tragedy of all. He was one of the greatest leaders of all time, and people just think he is a tyrant. Yeah. If you go on my app and you go to the video search and you just type in great man-made, let's see if that does it. Great man-made river, and it should pull up. There you go. So this is my video. It's nice. Awesome. Yeah. So the Great Man-Made River, you might be able to find it on YouTube, but it probably will hide it from you. Anything, all of the good videos, they don't just pop up in your search. You search Flat Earth, you get anti-Flat Earth stuff. So if you're new to this and you want to win 3 Bitcoins, you can get my app, and every day there's a featured video right here. Watch it for the next 2 weeks, and then send me a globe proof, and you win 3 Bitcoins. Or just go to my website, flatearthdave.com. Scroll down. You'll see Crash Course. Watch the first 5 videos, and then send me your globe proof. And you win 3 Bitcoins. Not bad, right?
Not bad at all, man. That's wild. That's crazy. That how many people have come to you to try to debunk it?
Not many, but the ones that do, they're just the boats over the horizon, sunsets over, sunsets. They don't understand what the horizon is. They don't understand why things disappear from the bottom up. Because Bill Nye, the line guy with the bow tie, told you that when a boat goes over the curve, it disappears from the bottom up, and that's absolutely true. But that's not why boats disappear, because the globe, whatever the radius it is or circumference, has a set amount of curvature. Right? But we can see beyond that required limitation of curvature, right? So, for example, here is on a frozen lake, right? Now, large body, oops, hold on a second. That's actually the one I was looking for. Why is that showing? Hold on. Black Swan. Yeah, we'll just show this first. So this is on a, this is a oil rig. It's 10 miles out, and the other one's 16, I think. The camera is at 8 feet, and so the horizon should be well in front of this. What do I mean by the horizon? 8 foot, 3.5 miles away, there's an 8-foot drop. So we shouldn't be able to see the surface of the water beyond 3.5 miles, which would be like here. Okay? But we can see the surface of the water here. We can see it here. We can see it far, far, far beyond the second one. So what does that mean? Does it mean the Earth is flat? Either that or the Earth has a radius of over 400,000 miles. It's crazy. So again, here's one. This is on a frozen lake. Large bodies of water at rest lie flat. When they get cold, they freeze flat. And we put a camera. Excuse me. Put a camera 6 inches off the ice. We put these 4 lights out here at different distances: 8 miles, 7 miles, 6 miles, and 5 miles. Now that doesn't seem like a lot, but the horizon at 6 inches away is less than a mile away. Less than a mile, you shouldn't be able to see the surface of the ice anymore. These are all 1 foot off the ice, right? But this one should, adding crazy amount of make-believe refraction, giving the benefit of the doubt, this should be 30 feet below, 22, 15, and 9 feet. But they all show up right here on a level line. Now, there's 2 explanations, and you'll notice a theme when we try to explain things on both. The globe one is insane, and the flat one is simple. The flat one is the camera's on the ice, and it's seeing all of these on the ice. End of story. The globe one is the horizon is 0.88 miles away. I think that's what it says. Less than a mile away. This one's refracting up and stopping right at the tangent point here. This one's going up to the same higher to stop at the tangent point of this camera, higher and higher. And they're all stop at the tangent point. Now, none of them start to go too low. None of them refract up higher. They all know just to refract to the perfect amount to be at the tangent of the camera's view across the curved earth. Which one is insane and ridiculous and stupid, right? You're not stupid. It's stupid. People like, I can't figure it out. You can't figure it out because it's stupid. You're not stupid. It's stupid. You're gullible, but you're not stupid.
I like that one. That's a good one. That makes a lot of sense, Dave. It does.
Yeah.
So you don't think there's an ice wall when it comes to like Antarctica and all that?
I think there is. I think there is.
Oh,
you ever hear the cliffs of Dover?
Yes. Yep.
Is that a wall or is it a cliff?
I don't know.
It's a cliff. It's a cliff.
Oh, okay.
At the top of the cliff is land, right? So it's just high land with a straight edge down to the water. That's what Antarctica is. Antarctica is the highest land on Earth on average, right? That's a fact. The plateau of Antarctica is over twice the height of the average height of all the other continents. Number 2, it's like over twice the height. So this is, let me just pull this up. Where the hell? There we go. Here's the average elevation. Here's Antarctica. Weird, right? So if I have a cup of tea here, if I didn't have the cup, my liquid would not be contained. If I had a bathtub, if I didn't have the bathtub, the water would not be contained. At a pond, if it didn't have the sides of the land that are higher than the water would not be contained. Right? So water needs to be contained until we get to the oceans. Then it doesn't need to be contained. It exists on the outside of a curvy spinning ball adjacent to a space vacuum. That's nuts. That's nonsense. That's what they want you to believe.
We have a couple more comments, questions from the audience here. How does Starlink work on a flat Earth?
I love that question. I love that question.
Satellites and stuff too. So maybe we can get into that.
Yeah. So this is the ice wall. This is not the ice wall. This is what they want you to think flat earthers think, but this is indoctrination. This is reality, right? Here they are. This is like 200 feet high. And that's just the shoreline of Antarctica. So satellites, that's a great one. First, you have to prove that rockets can go into space. Space violates a natural law. What do I mean by that? So if you have, here is, all right, here's a gas pressure simulator. And I've got all this gas in here. And if I open up the valve, hold on. Here goes. The gas will eventually just float up, independent of gravity. Gravity does not hold gas down, right? So here is another one. And this time I pulled a vacuum. Oh, no, this is out. I'm going to close it. and I pull a vacuum. So now we evacuate all of the air pressure from out here. And when we open it, what happens? Right? When we open it, all the water just rushes out, right? And that we got it here. Now, if I take away the container, what happens to the gas? Instantly equalizes into the pressure vacuum. It just will equalize. So there we go. Boom, it's gone. So here. So there we go. We remove the container and all of the gas disappears. So now it's just a simulator. Let's look at it in reality. So here we have gas pressure, valve, vacuum, right? When we open up the valve, what happens? Whoosh, the air instantly equalizes up and away from gravity. Now, gravity's on. Gravity's not holding the gas down, right? Now I just flipped it upside down. But it's holding it down. So here's a question. This is supposedly the picture of Earth from the Voyager, billions of miles away. And they're telling us that's Earth. Well, Earth has this high pressure gas. This is a friggin' giant vacuum. We're dead. Right? So how does Starlink work? Because Starlink does work. So I actually had a chat GPT, and I said, first, Starlink. Well, I'll tell you that's at the end. Starlink does work. And so I asked AI, I said, these little satellites that are all up there, where are they getting their electricity from? Like if you unplug the cell tower, it doesn't work. And so where are they getting their electricity from? How do you service them? How do they all float in space when the Earth is corkscrewing through space, going in all different directions? And it's just like, they do. And I said, what if we put those Starlink satellites, the equipment in the belly of commercial airline flights? That way they can have a power source. They can be serviced anytime there's an issue. And the AI said, that is a fantastic idea. The only problem is if there's a big storm and planes are diverted, there'll be no service in that area. I said, well, what if they had high flying military AWACS planes up there wherever there was a storm? And it said that would be a more robust system than the current system. Fascinating. And if you look at a Starlink receiver and then go back to the Vietnam War, our troops had these radios that communicate with AWACS planes, high-flying airplanes, and it would relay their information back to Washington. Well, you look at that receiver, it's the same thing as a Starlink receiver. It's the same thing. It's the same equipment, just a new box.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy? And I have a military guy that lives in the deep south. And he says, and he tracks like every airplane in the sky and everything. And he's on a small island and he has internet through Starlink. And he says every time the last plane that leaves his area, he loses his service until another one comes in. Just another thing. Now, the question is, have you ever seen a Starlink? Have you ever seen the chain of them in the sky?
No.
Like this. I've seen this, right? So we're told that these are smaller than a kid's desk. Like we'll call it the size of an automobile, right? Do you think and these things are, when they're directly above you, they're 350 miles. Everywhere else, they're farther away. So here's a 747, right? Here's a 747. This is a 747 up here. Now, that's small in the picture, but you look up, you can see the wings, but can you see the engines on this? No, you can't. They're too small. You can fit probably a dozen Starlink satellites inside one of these engines, but let's just say the Starlink is the same size as the engine. Do you think you can see it at 7 miles up? 7 miles high. You can barely see the airplane, but you have to make it 350 miles up, right? Look, there's a human right there. You didn't even see him. He's so small. He's big, right? The Starlink is like the size of a human. Okay. And the Starlink satellite is 340 miles high at its closest point to you ever. And we see them. So what are we seeing? I think we're just seeing drones. I think it's just drones. I think they have a line of drones up there to fool you. Now, when I saw the Starlink satellite, it was probably 3 years ago at night, in the evening. And since then, Elon has put up tens of thousands of more than them, but nobody's seeing them anymore. We should be seeing these things all the time. I think their illusion of having these up there and everyone going, oh, I've seen them. They like scale down the amount of fakery that they're doing.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
yep. I'm trying to. Where is? I had something. Oh, it's on my other thing. Yeah. So that's how Starlink works. It works. It's on airplanes, and then if you look at NASA, has the Satelloon program, Google Loon program. They're putting up tens of thousands of satellites hanging on balloons. Some of them they claim are as big as football stadiums. The balloons, they can hold up to 8,000 pounds, and they can keep them up there for years. And they can control where they go by going up and down, or by lifting them and lowering them into different air currents that counter rotate. So every time a satellite crashes to Earth, which happens quite often now, they always have a balloon attached to them. They never fall out of space because space violates natural law. You can't put something in a place that is Narnia, because Narnia doesn't exist. Yeah.
Sorry, are you saying that, just to clarify, are you saying that no one's seen the Starlinks anymore, or it's just less common?
Less common. But 3 years ago when I saw them, there's probably 100 times, 1,000 times more of them now. They put up so many. They should be polluting the night sky, but we don't see them. Occasionally we see them, and I think it's the same thing. It's another deception when you see the ISS. I saw an ISS tracker. This is before I was a flat earther. And I said, all right, it's going to be coming from the horizon over there. And boom, there it was right on key. And it went over my head, and I'm looking at it. I could see it over there. Now, when it went right over me, that's 250 miles. Now, it's moving at 17,500 miles an hour. And I saw it for another 5 or 6 minutes, I think. 17,500 miles an hour times 5 minutes is like 3,000 miles. How the hell did I see something the size of a 747 at 3,000 miles away? They're lying. That's not what we're seeing.
It's got to be something else.
Yeah, and people are like, what about the Himawari 8 satellite, that takes pictures? Those pictures are delayed. They're using weather data, right? And we found their server. Let me see. We found their server that had all the files on it, right? On the files this is all the weather data, right? And then they take it and they wrap that around. Just trying to fast forward here. They take all this weather data and they wrap it around the blue marble. And then they add a terminator line. All right, these are all pictures from their server. They add a terminator line. There we go. And then they said, look, Himawari took this picture of Earth. Bullshit. We have their FTP server. They shut it down since then, but we copied everything. So again, NASA, more complete and total nonsense. And this was on their server. If this was in the dark, how did we see all those clouds? How did they have this picture if this was really in the dark?
Yeah.
It's crazy. Here's the thing. So I'm sure you have a lot of people that are like, the flat earth is stupid, right? I offer 3 Bitcoins, not easily, not with a light heart. I offer them because I know that I don't have to give them away. I know that the earth is flat. I know that it matters, right? On my website, flatearthdave.com, download the app. It's $3. It's just $3. And on the app, the frequently asked questions page is absolutely amazing. But another page that I really like is the old world page, right? Will blow your mind. If you haven't looked into the old world yet, it is absolutely mind-blowing. And in the old world, the reason I'm bringing this up is because the giant trees section, this will teach you about these mountains and how water comes up through the trees, through the tree stumps. It's also quite biblical, but we just look at the evidence. The evidence shows us that this is beyond what most people can even imagine. Beyond it. There's a great channel called My Lunch Break. I encourage everybody to watch that. Just go on YouTube. You can find it. You don't even need to get the app. But My Lunch Break, you watch 5 of those, you're finished. You're toast. It's over.
So, Dave, just to clarify, the app is the Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac?
Yes, it is. And you can find it at flatearthdave.com. It's by Blue Water Bay.
Okay.
But if you can search for it in your app store, it's easy to find on Apple. It's harder to find on Google, on the Android. But just to show you, this represents the people that have my app that are using the Friend Finder, right? That's only some of them, right? So Flat Earth isn't going away. It's getting bigger and bigger. There's 238,000 people in here, right? Here's the UK. It's everywhere. And all of these people are waking up other people. So soon, Globe Earth religion is going to be the minority. Soon. Because once you go flat, you never glow back, as I said.
I just downloaded it.
Yeah, good. Thanks. And so it's $3 one-time charge. Now there are some higher features on here, which it's $11 a year for that. So just check out the app, see if you want those features. Like if you want to message people, if you want to use the matchmaker, let me show you the matchmaker. And I just made an update to it. So you click the heart button. Right? The heart button. And I say, okay, I'm a male. I put my age as 1 year old because I don't want to show up in anyone's results because I'm married. I'm looking for a female, and I can click as many age categories as I want. And I say, within 1,000 miles, I say search. And there's 62 results. And so I can scroll from result to result. And some people don't have theirs. And I can say, you know what? I'm going to click right here. I'm going to add her to my favorites. And I'm going to add her to my favorites. And I'm going to add her to my favorites. And I'm going to add her. She was already a favorite from my last demonstration. So add her. So if I go back, I can click here. I've got 19 favorites. And that way you can go back and start chatting with these people. You just hit the message icon. You can start having conversation. And it's awesome. You can find people near you that are like-minded. What's better than that?
No, that's awesome, man.
Yeah. Then you can unselect. Let's say I want to unselect her. I just take her out of my favorites. Now it's a white and she's off my favorites list. Pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
$11 a year unlocks everything on here. Everything. Whoops. Let me go back to that. So I make it as cheap as possible. It does cost money to run this, so I appreciate the support. But the frequently asked questions, the old world page, the books page, the images, so much of the app is included with the one-time $3 cost. So don't stress it, people.
Cool, man. That's awesome. Well, like I said, just downloaded it, so I'll definitely check that out this evening.
Just one last thing. When you download it, there's a couple pop-ups. Read them. It'll help you learn how to use the app.
Oh, okay.
If you long press any button, like you're like, what is this magnifying glass for? You just long press it, and it tells you. Right? I long press this top one here. These are flashcards. And you can send people flashcards. There's no proof of flat Earth. When anyone that says that to you, you send them one flashcard every day while they're having their coffee. There's over 200 flat Earth proofs. Wow. And it's amazing. Here, let me show you. You hit start, and here is it just flip from card to card, and there's just different proofs. And if this icon shows up, you click that, it'll take you to a video about that one. And it just, again, when they say there's no proof of flat Earth, there's only proof of flat Earth. There's no proof of the globe. And then you can send these to people. Bam. You can send them to whoever you want.
Cool, man.
You can annoy people with them. It's very fun.
Nice. We got some more comments and stuff. Let's
hear it.
Please. Also, lakes don't freeze flat. The water expands, and so at different rates based on depth.
Yeah, well, the top of the lake is flat. Yes, it expands, but it doesn't curve. We can measure the Bolivian salt flats, which is not frozen, which is 4,000 square miles, or maybe it's even more, and there's zero curvature. Do you know how much curvature there should be in just 3 miles?
No, how much? 3 miles?
6 feet. 6 feet. So a 6 foot tall person, 6 feet in just 3 miles. 10 miles, 66 feet.
Oh, come on. That's fucking ridiculous.
100 miles, 6,600 feet, over a mile. There's the rail gun on a ship can, with a laser beam, target a ship over 100 miles away and shoot a projectile line drive at it. Just has to account for a little bit of drop. There should be over a mile. It should be hidden behind a hill a mile high, a hill of water, but there is no hill of water. 70% of the ocean, the world is oceans, and most of that is abyssal plains, which is by definition flat and level. Submarines sitting on the bottom of the abyssal plain can see other submarines over 100 miles away with their sonar. Sonar doesn't work like that. It would hit the hill and it would come back. They wouldn't be able to see. If you duck behind a hill while we're outside, could I see you? Could you see me? You duck behind a hill.
No.
If something goes behind the Earth curve, can you see it?
Well, you shouldn't be able to, right?
You shouldn't, but we can see it, right? That's the problem. That is the problem. So let me show you this. So here's a spot in Aluja, France. And out here is Mount Canigou, 175 miles away, and you can't see it because the Earth curve calculator tells you that the top of that mountain, the very top of the highest point, is over a half a mile below the curve. Can't see it. Earth is a globe, of course. But twice a year, the sun migrates in between the two tropics back and forth. And twice a year, the sun lines up with Mount Canigou. And as it moves forward, it backlights the mountain. Now, the sun's light can push through the atmosphere better than the light that's reflecting off of the mountains can. And here's the mountain. The very top here should be over a half a mile below the curve, but we can still see it. This is blocking the sun. It's the mountain. It's right there across the earth. Now, flat earth claim, yeah, the sun's going away due to perspective. The mountain's blocking it. Globe earth claim, well, the sun is already set and the mountain is already below the curvature, but the sun is refracting up and the mountain that has no light on it is reflecting up and blocking the refracted sun. Which one is absolutely stupid?
Sorry, what was the first one?
The first one was we see the mountain because it's right there in our line of sight. The sun is just going away and it's disappearing from the bottom up.
Okay. I'd say the other one is stupid then.
Yeah, the other one's super stupid. Super stupid. Let's talk about sunsets for a second.
Sure.
Good. So where did it go? There it is. So let me just see if I can do this. So here's my flat earth kitchen. Right, I got this line here that's going across my counter and it's level, and I'm just running this sun along the line. We're viewing it from a celestial point of view at the same height. And you can see that this is level. Here's the counter. It's a little dark. And I have these bottles here with some cardboard in between them, and it never goes below it, right? Level line. You with me? You see the line? It's level.
Yep.
Now on the other end of the counter, I have a terrestrial-based camera, and I'm going to show you what it saw from the same thing. If I showed you this first, I said, is this line level? You would say, no, it's sloped down at about 45 degrees. And I'd say, is this sun going below these things? And you'd be like, absolutely, it's going below them. It's not. It's just going beyond them. Now, if I even zoom in more, look at this line. This is a level line. This is not going below. It's going beyond. And you can see, it looks like it's your eye level. Everything becomes eye level. Now, look. Here's the sun, the actual sun going away. I'm just showing you my thing. What is this going beyond? Are those mountains or is that the atmospheric deck of opacity? The atmosphere down low over distance becomes more opaque than up higher, and the sun will just go beyond it. Like somebody on the other side of a fence walking away, their head will disappear from the bottom up if you're lower than the fence. Your horizon is not at your eye level. It is thousands of feet above your eye level. Right here, these clouds, let's say they're 10,000 feet. How high are these clouds? 10,000 feet. 10,000 feet. 10,000 feet. They're all 10,000 feet. But as they go into the distance, they merge into this line. So this line is at least 10,000 feet above your eye level. Right? This line, if this is above your eye level and this is the sun goes away and it sets. It's not going down, it's going away. Right? So this is the sun setting. Let's take a look. So here's where the atmosphere just becomes opaque. So here we got cloud, and there's another cloud right there. And as the sun goes away, it disappears from the bottom up. It disappears from the bottom up. It disappears from the bottom up. And then here, all of this is merged together and the sun just disappears from the bottom up. Very, very simple.
Yeah.
Right? Here's the sun just going away. Now, these trees, I'm on a boat. Hold on. I'm on a boat. Let me just stop this for a second. So these trees are higher than my camera, right? Absolutely. Because I'm on a boat, a couple feet off the water. Common sense tells you these trees are, 100, 200 feet above the water. But if I went back 10 miles, these trees would look like the horizon. Right. And as the sun goes away, oops, what happened? Whoa. There we go. As the sun goes away, it appears to get lower, right? So here it's going away, it's going away, it's going away. Now, I'm going to send my drone up. I'm going to get higher than those trees. Look, there's the sun again. Now, it looks like it's setting over here, but if I get up even higher, look, it's not setting.
No.
It's not setting. It's not setting. I go up higher. Now, eventually, as it's going farther away, it's getting dimmer and dimmer. And all of a sudden, the atmosphere becomes opaque. I zoomed in here, and it's going away beyond this atmospheric deck of opacity. On the boat, we saw the sunset from the bottom up 10 minutes ago. But there's the sun just going across the earth plane. Light doesn't travel forever. You can't see forever. The atmosphere becomes opaque. If you and I were looking through a pane of glass, no problem. We can barely see the glass. At 10 panes, I still see you. At 20, 30, 40 panes, I can't see anymore. I hold a light, you can see the light. 50 panes, 100 panes, you can't even see the light anymore. The atmosphere is the same thing, just over greater distance. Here is just a demonstration of a coin on a table, and it's setting from the bottom up. The camera's slightly below the table. Well, this horizon is thousands of feet above your eye level. The sun's just going away. It's going beyond. It's going beyond. People, well, you're over the ocean. The ocean is always below your eye level. No, that's true. The ocean is always 6 feet below your eyes if you're 6 feet tall. Yeah. Unless there's big waves or something. But the atmosphere becomes opaque. That marine layer, just over 50 to 100 miles, it becomes opaque. Things on the ground, boats, buildings, continents, those go into the horizon. They become obfuscated, and you can zoom in and see them. Things, celestial objects, not airplanes, sun, stars, moon, things above go beyond. This is going beyond. Right? If I made the horizon here, you think that's the horizon, and it just goes beyond my finger. Beyond. Very, very, very simple.
Cool. All right, let's see here. Let me get another one from the audience here. How does the moon? What's this one here? How does the moon show all the continents of Earth?
The moon map. He's asking about the moon map. So that needs a lot more investigation. But if you go on the app here and you just type in moon map. So here's one. So they inverted it, flipped it around, and this literally has all the proportions of all the continents. I know it looks a little different from what we see, but it's been mapped out. The question is, what's over here? What land is this? Right? So if we look here, do you know about the astronomical Prague clock?
No.
So this is the oldest clock in the world, working clock in the world. It's in Prague, and it shows.
Right. Sorry. Yes.
Yeah. So this whole thing moves around in a 26,000 year cycle. And look here, this is the flat Earth map, but they recently changed it to a globe. Crazy, right? So this is the moon map. This is kind of showing you the same thing. And that this is the world. This is where we live here. There's articles from the early 1900s talking about how the moon is a map of the Earth, and they don't want to talk about it now. They don't want you to know about things like that. It's fascinating.
That's very fascinating, Dave. That is very fascinating.
Yeah, it's crazy. Again, though, looking up at the sky, it's hard to prove anything in the sky because we can't go there. We can't touch it. We can't measure it. The moon map is very interesting because it's visually, we're looking at, an unfathomable amount of coincidences if it's not what we think it is. But we don't need to do that. We can measure the Earth from here. We can see that it's not the size that they tell us.
Right.
We have observations. If you go to the frequently asked questions page and go to the "We Can See Too Far," there's a series of windmill videos. A lot of people use windmills. They say the windmills prove that the Earth is curved because the blades look like they're missing. But we show you how the atmosphere is hiding them, and we show you a ship. While we're filming, a ship went behind it, 17 miles behind it, and we can see the ship on the water. That's impossible. Right? It would require the radius of the Earth, I think, to be 400,000 miles, and it's only 4,000 miles.
Okay.
Right? The Earth is 100 times bigger than they tell us. But that doesn't even work because we have observations that just show us clearly that we're not on a ball.
All right. Before we start wrapping up, just a few more quick questions, Dave. How about another thing I wanted to ask you? Can you explain maybe quickly air travel with the world layout, like Alaska and Russia's proximity? We got people in the audience saying like the time of flights across Australia should be long.
Yeah. So that
one is there to Sydney.
On the app, I'm gonna go over it. We only have a couple minutes, but Southern flights right here. It explains it all. But I'm gonna explain it for you right now.
Okay.
So I'm just gonna type in Southern, and here are a bunch of plane routes. Now think about this. You want to go from Santiago, Chile, tip of South America, to Australia, shortest route right across Antarctica or around Antarctica. But no need to come into the northern hemisphere to get over to the bottom of the ball, right? You stay down on the bottom of the ball, then that would be the shortest route. So here is on the left here, we have, we have on the left, we have New Zealand, a flight from New Zealand. Australia's right around the corner. We want to get to Argentina. And the flight goes up across the equator to San Francisco, then to Houston, Texas, and then all the way back down. Does that make any sense? That's the globe explanation. Flat Earth explanation, New Zealand, San Francisco, Houston, Texas, Argentina. What did your mom teach you? How's the fastest way to get somewhere? Shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. Auckland to Lima, Peru. They didn't want to go to Los Angeles. It's just as close to go on the globe to go here instead of all the way up there. So you don't say they went there for gas. People wanted to go here, but they went up there. Look at it on a flat Earth map. Auckland, Los Angeles, Peru. Straight line.
Damn.
So now the question is, and it's a legit question, a flight from here to here, it takes about the same amount of flight time as like from California to Spain, shorter distance. There's wind currents that these airplanes go in at different altitudes, and that go like 350 miles an hour. And so these planes, the plane that does the Boeing Dreamliner that goes from Santiago to here nonstop, has 7 layers of heat-resistant paint. They've kind of taken that off the internet now. They're trying to deny it. So it's going faster. But even if it only went 650 miles an hour, put 350 mile an hour tailwind, that's 1,000 miles an hour, right? There's even measurements where we look, the plane would have to be going like 400 miles an hour to make it in the long trip, to make it in the time, with that tailwind, to make it in the time. And it's like, there's no way that would ever happen. But again, in the amount of time we have here, I can't explain it to you. I'm just showing you where you can learn it. Southern flights, tons of information there.
Awesome, Dave. Well, I know you got to get going, so thank you so much for your time. So much more I'd like to get into, so I'd love to have you back if you.
Let this sink in and see what the response is there. Now, I just want to point out a couple of things. The trolls will show up in your comments before I have a time to take a look at it. They're going to say I'm a grifter, that my app uses globe math. Not true. They're going to say that my app leaks data. That's not true. It was hacked a while ago, but the only information you put in there is the information that you want to share with all the other users. Right. Not that that's good that it got hacked, but so did Bank of America, and so did Facebook, and so did Microsoft, and so did Wells Fargo, and so did every other company, including including Microsoft.
The Nazi dating website just got hacked too.
Yeah. But here's the thing: is there's nothing you put in this app that you don't want to share with other people. There's nothing. There's absolutely nothing. So again, that's not a that's been, they're going to do everything they can because they don't want you to get this app, because this app bypasses the YouTube algorithm and will make you into a flat earther. And it'll help you find friends near you that are like-minded, and it'll help you find meetups. There's a meetup maker in there. Make sure you turn the meetup maker notifications on for whatever radius. Like you say, notify me of any meetups within 500 miles. And bam, you'll get an email anytime somebody sets up a meetup within your radius. So it's really nice. And it matters. We got into why the lie a little bit, but on the frequently asked questions page, my favorite section is why the lie right here. Why the lie? Great videos in there. Mind-blowing, inspiring. And just one other thing, if you go to the more resources, which is this web button one, more resources, this button right here, scroll down. Besides a bunch of resources, the full-length videos. There's great stuff in here. Great documentaries. Turn off Netflix forever and start watching this stuff and watch how your life changes. This is a fun section too. Rockets or balloons. That's a good one.
Sounds like there's a lot of cool stuff there, Dave.
There's so much cool stuff in here.
I downloaded it. I'll check it out today. So
biblical section, featured content creators, so you can find stuff. Go in here. If you're on TikTok, go in here and subscribe to every one of those channels, and then your feed will be filled with amazing stuff. All right. Homeschool section. Absolutely mind-blowing stuff.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. There
awesome.
You go.
All right, Dave. All the best to you. Let's stay in touch, and stay safe out there, my friend. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me up. See you around.
Right. Take care,
bye.
My friend.
Yep. Bye.
All right, everybody. That is that. Thank you, everyone in the audience. This was a very fun show. I sure learned a lot. I hope we can get him back, dive a little deeper, get into some of the stuff that I didn't necessarily get into. But yeah, thank you, everyone in the audience. I know there was a lot of action going on in the comments, so that's always fun. Thank you for your questions and inquiries as well. Taking a couple days off the next couple days to start doing some brainstorming and take care of some personal matters, but wishing the best to all you guys. And I just, again, wanted to say thanks to everyone for their support over the last few months since I restarted the show. I wish everyone the best for 2026. And everyone stay safe. Please subscribe to the Divulgence Podcast. You can get us on YouTube, of course. We are back on Rumble. We are on Spotify for your audio podcasts, and wherever else you get your audio podcasts, you can probably find us there as well. Please, leave a nice comment, a thumbs up, 5-star review or something. Anything helps. I hope that we can bring you guys a lot of good stuff in the new year. I have some stuff planned, and hopefully I might be getting some help from some people this year. So maybe we can start building things up and start bringing you guys more stuff, better stuff. So keep in touch. If you guys have any suggestions or anything like that, you can hit me up on X. You can send me an email, anything like that. Any guest suggestions, send them my way. I'll do my best to bring them on. But you guys take care, live, laugh, love, stay safe, have fun, and we'll see you guys next time. Cheers.